I have been getting so many calls and texts and emails, and I just love it, I have to say. People asking me about the St. Petersburg area, and so today I decided to do a video on my top picks for neighborhoods in St. Petersburg I think you should consider when you're looking to relocate. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, I'm Emily. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, and this channel is dedicated to all things living, working, playing, sleeping, eating in the Tampa St. Pete area. So if that resonates with you, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That really helps me out a lot. And if you have any real estate related questions or you're looking to relocate to the Tampa St. Pete area, please feel free to contact me. I can't help you if you don't reach out. I've been getting calls every day and I really love it. So make sure that you contact me. All my links are below and we can get started working together. So today, this video I wanted to dedicate to some of the top neighborhoods that I feel people should consider moving to when they're looking to relocate to St. Petersburg, Florida. And I'm getting so many calls from people because Tampa market is getting pretty saturated, let's be honest. And St. Pete is just a wonderful alternative. Now, there are some things to consider. I do have a couple videos on St. Pete. I will put them up here for you so that you can check them out, the pros and cons, as well as two of the most popular neighborhoods, historic Kenwood, as well as the historic Old Northeast. Those are probably the most popular neighborhoods. So I've already done videos on those. So today I'm going to focus on 3 other neighborhoods that I think you should consider, some of which I'm discussing with some of my current clients. So I figured you might as well be part of that conversation as well. And so I started with my top one, a little north of downtown, which is called Crescent Heights. And just south of that is Crescent Lake. So Crescent Heights is basically a square on the map, and it runs along Dr. Martin Luther King Street North, 30th Avenue North, 22nd Avenue North, and 4th Street North. And it's in a really high traffic shopping area. Crescent Heights is a really wonderful little neighborhood that has a lot of family feel to it, a lot of nature, wonderful craftsman style homes, and a lot of the normal, what I'd call shopping. You know, not a ton of big box, but you do have a Trader Joe's and things like that, but you do have some of the smaller little box stores as well. 4th Street North runs all the way north and south in St. Pete, and it has a variety of little eclectic shops to the normal commercial shops, all sorts of things. It's one of my favorite places to shop. And Crescent Heights is becoming another alternative area to the historic Northeast as well as the historic Kenwood because of the way that it sits just north of both of those areas. And then just south of that is Crescent Lake. So Crescent Lake sits again just below Crescent Heights at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street North, 22nd Avenue North, and over to 4th Street North, but it stops at 12th Avenue North. But it has a lake in the center of it. And so there's a ton of beautiful homes that surround the lake with a hiking and biking. It's really a biking trail. There's not a lot of hiking in Florida. But you're also just about less than 3 miles from the beach and Snell Isle, which is again, those $1 million waterfront homes. You have to also consider that Crescent Heights as well as Crescent Lake is going to start, the home prices are going to start in that $350K range. And they're going to go all the way up until the 2 millions. So that area is becoming the next sort of hot neighborhood to cross over into, since the 2 most popular areas are getting so filled up with everybody moving there. So you have to consider that, but you're still going to be just north of downtown in a really great little neighborhood. Again, with those craftsman style homes, the brick lane streets, lots of walking, lots of biking. And again, you are biking to your shopping if that's what you want, or a coffee shop. So it's still its own like little neighborhood, little nugget community, a lot of diversity, a lot of art, a lot of culture, but you're still enough out of downtown that you have a suburban feel, but you're still close to all of the shopping and the restaurants. And again, if you want to go downtown for some nightlife, you're not that far, and you could take a quick Uber. So that is Crescent Heights and Crescent Lake. Next on my list is, of course, downtown St. Petersburg. I mean, that is just the hot happening place. But where is it? It's kind of small, again, strip on the map. Downtown St. Petersburg runs north and south along Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street, as well as all the way to the water, actually. And then the most east and west is going to be 5th Avenue North and then 1st Avenue North. But there's a lot of areas adjacent to downtown that's still considered downtown. Most importantly, what you need to know about downtown is that it's really, all of the attractions start heading towards the water. We've now got the St. Pete Pier, which is just really fun. It's something that I do a lot with my friends and my boyfriend. You can bike on it. They've got trolleys going back and forth. There's musicians. We were just there the other weekend, and everywhere we went, there was a new musician, out with their drums, or there was actually a Scottish bagpipe player. That's what you call them. And then you can go all the way to the end where there's this big structure, and it's got a museum on one level. I think it's a museum. There's a coffee shop, and there's a couple of restaurants, and wonderful views, and just a really amazing outdoor space. The architecture is really great. And along the water as well is Doc Ford's, which is a really great restaurant, as well as there's I think it's like a private airport. There's just so much. And that's just one side. On the other side is Vinoy Park and the Vinoy Hotel. And then as you kind of look back into downtown, you see all the high rises with a mix of those bungalow style homes. It's really eclectic. So for all of you that are looking for a bit more of a city life, but a clean city living life, downtown St. Petersburg is so high on my list. I go there a lot because I secretly want to live there. And you're going to find condos, some townhomes, and then you're going to maybe get one or two or a dozen possible homes. But again, you're going to pay a pretty penny. The average condo price down in St. Pete is going to be in that $500K range. And don't forget, there's some high condo fees associated with that. But they go all the way up until the multi-millions, especially there along Beach Drive. Beach Drive has some amazing shops and restaurants. We went to Stillwater the other night before we went to a movie over at Sundial. Sundial is a wonderful little shopping area as well, and it's got an AMC movie theater. And you can bar hop along Beach Drive. You can, we pretty much bar hopped, if I'm honest. We bar hopped the entire Saturday. They've just started putting up their holiday lights and trees, and so there's plenty to do, walking around, listening to live music, and just enjoying our amazing weather. So if you want a little bit of the beach life, but you don't really want, the sand in your shoes as you're going into your house, you can have the downtown life with a beach view. You've got the best of both worlds. It's funny, my mother drives me around while I'm shooting videos, and it's been years since she's been in St. Pete, to be honest with you. And she was like, wow, everywhere we turn, she's like, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow, because it's just buzzing with all of the elements that we personally love, which are boating, beaching, water views, sky, high rises, and museums and music and great shopping and some of the best food you will ever find. I've never had bad food in St. Pete. And before I move on to the last neighborhood I want to talk to you about, let's just talk a little bit about some things that you need to understand about St. Petersburg. It is, basically this long peninsula alongside the east part of Tampa. So on one side you've got Tampa Bay, on the other side you've got the Gulf of Mexico. So you're surrounded by water. So the weather's a little different, but you don't really have to worry too much about hurricanes. Typically storms don't really curve right from the Gulf that often. They usually go straight to like Pensacola area. So you don't have to worry about that so much, but you do have to worry about commuting. So when it comes to either commuting back and forth from St. Pete to Tampa, take into consideration you've got to go over bridges. And we've got 3. We've got the Courtney Campbell, that's on the north part. We've got 275, that's in the middle there, and that is the most frequently used bridge because it goes from basically after the Rays Stadium off of 275, you start hitting that area across the bay actually, and then it kind of lands you into the West Shore area and by the airport. So you can imagine that becomes a pretty high traffic area, and it gets bottlenecked a lot. When I'm going over there with clients, I try not to go or stay in St. Pete because I live in Tampa. I try not to stay in St. Pete past around 3 o'clock. If I can get over the bridge by 3 o'clock, I'm usually past the traffic, but anytime after 4, you're gonna be stuck. And if there's an accident, you are stuck for a long time. So keep that in mind. There is a third bridge, which is the Gandhi Bridge, which connects to the lower part of South Tampa. So that is also, highly trafficked as well because of the people that live in South Tampa or possibly work in St. Pete or vice versa. So keep that in mind. There's another bridge I like to talk about, but it's not frequented that much by too many people unless you're really commuting far. It is the Sunshine Skyway, and it is at the bottom tip of St. Pete, and it is, gosh, I used to know the numbers. It's one of the tallest bridges, I think, in the United States. It's pretty scary, to be honest with you, and when we have high winds or storms, nobody's going across it. But if you have to commute between St. Pete and, say, Sarasota, Ruskin, Apollo Beach, that sort of thing, it is the straight shot. It is the easiest way. So keep that in mind as well. 4 bridges. So you've got to consider weather, you've got to consider traffic, and what are you going to be going in and out of St. Pete for? Because I'll be honest with you, when I was running around with my mom and we were talking about, wouldn't it be cool to live over here? I was like, yeah, but then I would never leave it. So if you've got friends, or you start to, if you're commuting and you've got family in Tampa, or you work in Tampa, or let's say your kids go to private school somewhere in Tampa, that's going to be quite a commute. St. Pete is very densely populated. Compared to Tampa, Tampa's just more spread out. St. Pete is in its own little cluster. It used to be primarily retirees, but now you're starting to see a mix. And I'll be honest, when I was out and about on Saturday night, bar hopping all around Central Avenue, First Street, as well as Beach Drive, I saw young people, young professionals. I actually felt like we were the oldest people around. And again, I have to kind of go back because we had some of the best drinks I've had in a long time. So if you like whiskey and bourbon, there's a place called Flask and Dram on Beach Drive, and it's delicious. And Stillwater, I think I mentioned that earlier, they had an amazing cold brew old fashioned. Holy mackerel, was that good. And it used to be safety was a concern in St. Pete. I'm not so sure it is anymore. Again, I always say go to niche.com. I've got the link below if those kinds of things are of interest to you. I can't speak to that, but I've never felt unsafe there, just to be honest. But I wouldn't go running around the alleys by myself. Let's just keep that in mind too. Okay, all right, moving on. Let's talk about the Old Southeast. Now, this is an area, I am gonna be honest with you, I haven't been down there a lot because it is south of the city, and I tend to either hang out more in downtown St. Pete, or my clients don't really ask to see that area. It is a higher ticketed area. It is a little bit more of the luxury living with a suburban arts and culture feel. You're gonna have very small little mom and pop shops, and 4th Street is probably one of the main drags that has all of that commercial shopping. So the Old Southeast runs along, again, north and south on 4th Street North, and down all the way to an area called Tropical Shores, and it abuts Lessing Park and goes all the way to the water. So again, great water views, and goes up a little bit to that Bayboro Harbor. So Lessing Park is really beautiful. It's, again, we're talking about Tampa Bay here. So all of these homes are sitting, staring right at this peaceful water. There is a walking path that runs up and down the street as you're kind of going north and south along that area. There is, again, like I mentioned, Tropical Shores is a wonderful area as well, and there's also Driftwood. I drove around Driftwood. I'm not gonna lie, it was stunning, stunning, stunning. If you are looking for a, again, this is luxury living we're talking about, but beautiful homes nestled in these tropical neighborhoods, these narrow streets, and they have water views, just stunning. I was really shocked. But the houses along Old Southeast are all very cool, very different, very eclectic. You definitely can tell some people have moved into the area over the years and really, spun their own little artistic side to these homes. We were driving down the street and this one house had this beautiful mural inside this atrium on the 3rd floor of the house. It was crazy. A couple of fun, eclectic houses, some historic homes for sure. But most of these homes, I do believe, are from the turn of the century. So most of St. Pete is turn of the century. So beautiful. Now, flood zone. I talk about this in a couple of my videos, but people still live in homes that live in a flood zone. You just have to pay the insurance. But like I've said, typically the storms don't necessarily come and hit St. Pete directly. You're gonna maybe get, some offshoot of the wind and the rain. But again, don't hold me to that. I'm not a weather person. Giving you 3 options now. Crescent Heights, moving into Crescent Lake, kind of consider the same area. Downtown St. Pete, where it's at, all the happening stuff. And then if you are looking for luxury living and a little bit more secluded, you're still close to all of the happening things, but you want a little bit more of your own little island life, beach life, water life, suburban life. So St. Pete's got some really cool museums, the Museums of Fine Art, the Dolly Museum, which I personally love, and they do yoga in there sometimes on Sundays, as well as the Chihuly Museum with all that amazing blown glass. My mom and I were also talking about the fact that we wanted to come and do a day and just hit all the museums, because you can do that. There is never a lack of things to do in St. Pete. You've got it all. So you would never have to leave St. Pete. And that's something that I personally love about it. But understand, there's parts of St. Pete that aren't so great. So do your due diligence, come visit, call me, we'll go looking around. I'll be happy to show you some areas on top of the areas that I've just mentioned that you might want to consider, because St. Pete is still continually going through its regentrification. So the downtown area sort of started it all, and it sort of like branches out, right? Like that. And I just don't think you would be disappointed. I will do some more videos on St. Pete. Seems to be a hot topic recently. And again, I've left out about a dozen other little neighborhoods that you need to consider. So until then, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Please don't forget, if this all resonates with you, I'd really love if you would subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. And clicking that like button. Feel free to comment below. Anybody have any questions, or if you've got anything to add, let's start a conversation. I can help you, but I can't if you don't reach out. Reach out to me. All my links are below, and I would really love to speak to you and see if I can't be your advocate when you're trying to relocate to our beautiful Golden State. So until the next time, everybody, have a great one. Bye-bye.